Hi, I'm Amy Romeo, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make these really fun and festive holiday coffee cup sleeves. Now, these are great for coffee or tea, of course, and they'll fit on any standard size coffee cup. Now, these are made with faux leather on the bottom and heat transfer vinyl on the top, and I'll leave a link to the SVG file for you so you can craft along with me. Now, I'll be making this project today with my Cricut Maker, but you can use any of the current Cricut machines, including all of the Explore machines, the Cricut Joy Extra, and even the Cricut Joy, as long as you have the 12-inch Joy mat. I'll leave a link to all of the tools and materials I'll be using for you as well. Now, the faux leather that I'm using is a sheet of 9-inch by 12-inch faux leather, and you'll want a directionless print or a print that's horizontal. And what I mean by that is this pattern is going to cut lengthwise from your faux leather. So for example, if your print had a direction like these polar bears, this pattern is going to cut this way, and then your polar bears would be sideways. So look for a print that's either horizontal or directionless. And I'm also going to use some regular heat transfer vinyl. On these, I used some foil iron-on, and this one has some glitter heat transfer vinyl. It's completely up to you. And then I'm going to cut my faux leather using my purple strong grip mat and my heat transfer vinyl using the green standard grip mat. I'm going to press the heat transfer vinyl onto the faux leather with my Easy Press Mini and a little heat pressing pad. You can also use a regular Easy Press if that's what you have. You'll need a weeding tool of some kind, some curved scissors or detail scissors, some blue painter's tape to help us get good cuts. And then these have a little snap closure. This is a cam snap. It's a plastic snap. These are size 20 snaps, and I like to buy them on Amazon in this assortment box. And the one that I buy, and I'll link for you, includes the cam snap pliers, but you can also buy these separately. Now, if you don't want to do the snap and you wanted to do something like Velcro dots, I'll leave a link to these really thin Velcro dots, and I'll show you how to hide that little pre-cut hole to just use the dots if you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into Cricut Design Space. I'll show you the 3 designs I've created for this project. We'll choose one and we'll get started cutting out our mats. Starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, you'll click on Upload and then Upload Image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG file for this project is saved on your device. Click on it to select it and then click Open. You'll see a preview of the 3 designs included in this project. Click Continue and then Upload. So here you will see that you've got 2 different background shapes for the coffee cup sleeves. One has a scalloped edge and one has a straight edge. So you can mix and match these designs with whichever sleeve shape you'd like to use. And these are going to have faux leather on the bottom and then heat transfer vinyl on the top. Either 1 layer of heat transfer vinyl or 2 layers of heat transfer vinyl. And you'll see those little pre-cut holes that I've made for the cam snaps, but I'm going to show you how to hide those if you want to use those Velcro dots that I mentioned in the introduction. So first, let me go ahead and ungroup these designs. And since all 3 of these are going to be made in the same way, I'm going to only choose one design to make in this video today. And to hide those little pre-cut holes, you'll want to click on the back layer. It's important that your design is ungrouped for you to only be able to select the back layer. When you do that, this contour menu will illuminate. Click on that, and then you're just going to either click on the hole on your screen and you'll see it change colors, or you can click on the little hole shapes here on the panel on the right hand side, and that's going to hide all of those holes. If you click Apply, now your little pre-cut holes are gone. So I'm going to undo that because I do want to cut the holes. I don't want to make any changes to the size, so I'm going to click the Make It button. We're cutting our materials on a mat. The first thing we want to do is go through and toggle the mirror button on for each mat because faux leather and heat transfer vinyl cut in reverse. Then I'm going to just drag my heat transfer vinyl shapes away from the top and side edges of the mat just a little bit. And then for my faux leather mat, I want to make sure if my faux leather is 12 inches wide, I'm going to make sure that my pattern is centered on my mat in such a way that it will cut out completely from my piece of faux leather. So I'll click Continue. We'll cut this faux leather mat from the faux leather paper thin setting with more pressure. Now, if you don't have this setting bookmarked as a favorite like I do, you can click on Browse All Materials and search for it. And then your heat transfer vinyl layers will cut from the manufacturer's recommended cut setting for your type and brand of heat transfer vinyl. Okay, let's go ahead and hop back to my overhead camera and we will start cutting out our mats and then assemble our holiday coffee cup sleeves. So I always start by cutting my faux leather mat first, and I'm going to take my piece of faux leather, turn it over so it's pretty side down, and put that on my purple strong grip mat. You'll want to press this really firmly with your hands on the back, and then use some blue painter's tape to tape this faux leather down on all sides. Now, blue painter's tape can be reused quite a few times, so I have some pre-cut pieces saved from an earlier project. And we have our faux leather paper thin cut setting with more pressure all ready to go. So all I need to do is load my mat into the machine and begin the cut. So our shape has cut one time, but before I unload the mat, I want to use a sharp weeding tool and just lift up the edge of the cut to see if it looks like the cut went all the way through. Now this one does look like it went all the way through, but if yours didn't, that's okay. You can just press the cut button again to rerun the exact same cut, and you can do that as many times as you need to, as long as you haven't unloaded your mat. But I'm gonna go ahead and unload my mat. I'll remove my shape, and then while you have your weeding tool handy, you'll want to turn this over and use that weeding tool just to poke through those little pre-cut holes. Now, if your holes did not cut all the way through, and they're stuck just a little bit like mine are, if you can see that, then I'm going to use those little curved scissors or detail scissors just to trim off those holes. So you'll want all 4 of these holes clear so that you can insert your cam snaps. So what I'm going to do next is return to Design Space and cut out the 2 heat transfer vinyl mats for this project, and then I'll show you how to press the heat transfer vinyl on and assemble the cam snaps. So I've cut and weeded those 2 heat transfer vinyl layers. I have my little faux leather shape on my heat pressing pad, and I set my Easy Press Mini to the low setting, which is that first green line. Now you'll need a cover sheet of some kind. This is a Teflon sheet that I've trimmed smaller because I make a lot of small projects, but you could use a large Teflon sheet or something like butcher paper or parchment paper. Now, if you're using a large Easy Press, I would set it to about 265 degrees for pressing heat transfer vinyl onto faux leather. So the first layer we're going to put down is the kind of border layer, and we want to center this on our faux leather pattern on the bottom. So to find the center of this heat transfer vinyl layer, here's a little trick. I'm going to bend this in half so that the edges kind of line up, and then I'm just going to pinch only on the top, right where there's no heat transfer vinyl. Just pinch on the top and the bottom just to kind of create a little center line. Hopefully you can see that. And then that's going to help me center this on my faux leather shape. Now this doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to wrap around a coffee cup, but you kind of want to look at it from above to make sure you're nice and centered. And then I'm just going to cover it with my little cover sheet, cover and press. We want about 10 seconds of good heat and pressure all over. Now when you're finished pressing, you'll want to very slowly peel back this clear carrier sheet layer, and if your vinyl lifts like this is doing here, you just place it right back down and cover and press some more. If you're having trouble with your heat transfer vinyl sticking to your faux leather, just let this cool for about 30 seconds to a minute. That often helps. You can also try peeling from a different corner, which I will do now. So again, I'm holding that faux leather flat, just peeling very slowly, but I still see a little bit of bubbles and lifting. So again, I'm going to cover and press, and I think what I'll do is let this cool completely before I try and peel the clear carrier sheet again. So I've let this cool completely, and I'm just pulling back the clear carrier sheet very slowly. And that looks good. So now I'm going to repeat with the top layer. Now this one I don't need to bend in half because I'm using the bottom border layer as my guide to tell me where this should go. So you want to just line this up with that bottom border layer so you have a nice even border all around your letters. Then we're just going to cover and press again for about 10 seconds. Again, I'm going to let this cool for about 60 seconds before I start peeling. So that looks great. I'm going to place this underneath my heat pressing pad for about a minute just to let it cool nice and flat while I assemble my cam snaps, and then I'll show you how to attach the little snaps to finish off the coffee cup sleeve. Now it's time to assemble our cam snaps on our coffee cup sleeve. So I have my cam snaps. These are size 20s. You can buy them in individual colors, but I like this assortment box on Amazon because it comes with those pliers. And I will also include in your download folder this little guide to exactly which snap parts you need to make one snap. So we need a cap, we need a piece called a stud, it has little bumps on it, we need a socket, it has kind of an opening, and then we need another cap, plus those cam snap pliers. So what I like to do is go through my box and find all 4 of these elements and lay them out on my work surface, and I've done that twice because we need 2 snaps. So you'll want to pick one of your sides to get started, and this is going to overlap around and snap down. So on one side, we're going to have the exact same setup, and on the other side, we're going to have the same pieces. So try not to get confused when you're doing your snaps. On this side, you could start left or right, it doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do is first take a cap, and the cap is the piece that has the pokey part, the post, and just push that through from the front to the back. And then on the other side, I'm going to take the next piece in my line here, which is the stud, that one with the little bumps on the back, and the bumps are going to go down. And then when I put snaps on this part, I'm going to use these exact 2 same pieces, so the cap and the stud. Let me hold on to these with my finger, and I'm going to show you how this works. So your pliers have a big black piece here, and you'll want to adjust your pliers in your hand so that the black piece is going to go over the cap. So you're just going to hold these in place with your fingers and then slide this over, and you'll feel that cap sort of nestle under that black part, and you can barely see it. And that's how you know you have this lined up correctly. Now when you line up this piece, then this bottom part will also line up in the right spot. So all you need to do is squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then we've got the first part of our snap. So I like to just go ahead and do the other side now too. So cap, flip it over, stud with the bumps down, black part of the pliers cover the cap, and squeeze. So now we have one side done, so we're just going to repeat that process on the other side. And what I always like to do is just kind of fold this over so that I know what I need to do next. So here the cap is on the outside, but on this side we need the cap to be underneath. So I'm going to flip this over. Our cap is going to go underneath from the back to the front. And then we're going to put our little socket. Again, line up your pliers, squeeze, and repeat on this side. And that's it. Isn't that cute? So here's another look at the 3 holiday coffee cup sleeve designs I made for you. I really hope you enjoyed this project and you're going to try making some of these yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.